Welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute, your source of internet marketing inspiration.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute. I'm your host, John Henson, and we are getting close to the end of the quarter, and things are very hectic. Got some changes that we're making here in Spotlight branding, got a lot of projects due, and it's just that time of year. Also going to be hitting the road to a couple places in October. We're going to be at Clio Cloud Conference here in a couple of weeks in Nashville, Tennessee. So if any of you out there are attending that conference, come by our booth. I will not be there, unfortunately, but we'll have 3 other people there. We're going to be on one of the stages. We're going to be doing a social media interview with Clio as well. We're doing a lot of fun stuff with them. And so come by, check us out. Put your name in, going to give away a really cool prize. And so all kinds of good stuff going on there. And then we'll be at the Wisconsin Solo Small Firm Bar Conference towards the end of October. So if any of you up in Wisconsin are attending that, I will be there, and come by the booth, say hi, and come talk to us about your marketing. And so this week, wanted to talk about just the dangers and kind of the missed opportunity of trying to do your marketing yourself. We kind of covered this in an episode back in March, but I wanted to revisit it because I think it's really important, and it's a really powerful visual once you kind of sit down and put the numbers to it. All right, so let's just dive right into it. So I mean, let's say that the average kind of hourly rate, because I know a lot of you don't do hourly, but maybe your flat fee or retainers, contingency, whatever the case is. At the end of the year, your total revenue divided by the number of hours you worked. For the most part, I think for many lawyers and law firms, especially on the solo small side, your hourly rate is going to be around $300 an hour. And if you would like some source material on that, I'm getting that number kind of from our legal marketing trends report that we released earlier this year. We surveyed people what their hourly rates are, and that was the biggest kind of the median response to that. So for baseline, we'll say 300 an hour. You can kind of do this math yourself based on what your actual hourly rate is. But 300 is kind of the middle ground there. And so we're going to talk about, how much time it would take to build your website and maintain it, how much time it would take to create blogs and emails, how much time it would take to create videos, and how much time it would take to create social media. And so like the first part, building your website, that might be the hardest part because there's a lot of tech savvy involved. You got to understand how to navigate a Wix or a one-in-one or a WordPress. And like they try to make it as user-friendly as possible. But if you just don't have that skill set or that experience, it might take you a while. And so, it could take anywhere from 1 to 5 hours conservatively to create an account, pick a theme, layout, colors, just the basic framework of your website. And even then, it's not going to look as polished and as professional as having a professional designer create it for you. But then you got to write the web copy for it. You got to write the home page, the practice area pages, your bio pages, contact pages, all that kind of stuff. And I know how lawyers can be. You're very perfectionist. So if you've got multiple practice areas or several things that you need to cover, that could take anywhere from 5 to 12 hours. All right. And then working with a hosting platform to get your website live, like if you can kind of delegate that, maybe 30 minutes an hour, that's fine. Or if you need to, there's ongoing monthly maintenance, there's changes that you're going to need to make. Maybe you want to swap out some images. Maybe you want to update some web copy here and there. You'll need to update plugins and just make sure that everything in the website's up to date. So that's going to be some time. So even just alone on that, whether that's a one-time thing or a regularly occurring thing, I mean, you're looking at anywhere from maybe 7.5 to over 20 hours on your website. And that alone right there is, 2 to 6,500 here and there, just on a one-time thing. And so, and if you're looking at like how much should a website cost, you're looking at anywhere from 10,000 on the high end to maybe 4 to 6 on the low end. And so, doing it yourself versus having someone else do it for you, someone else doing it for you is going to give you a better product versus doing it yourself. But also having someone else do it for you allows you to actually spend the time you would have otherwise been spending making your website to actually doing billable hours. And so it's almost a clean slate there. But when we talk about the actual marketing, because look, you need a website, you have to do that. Absolutely. The marketing side of things, talking about blogs, I think if you're going to write one blog a month and you're, spending 1 to 4 hours on it, maybe even more depending on how much of a perfectionist you are. I mean, that's another $300 to $1,200. If you're going to create a monthly email newsletter to accompany it, to create that touch point, which again, we've talked, so it's so important, how it's a big driver of referrals, and just that simple act of staying in touch and nurturing those contacts along the way. If you're super tech savvy, you can do that in 30 minutes. If you don't feel comfortable in those platforms, you don't really, understand how they work, maybe it takes you 2 hours. And so there's another $600, gone. So you're looking at anywhere from, $500 to $1,800, a month gone because you're spending it doing your own marketing. Doing videos, you got to set up the equipment, you got to actually record the videos. Maybe there's some prep time for you, just putting notes together into, what kinds of topics you want to cover. Then you got to edit those videos and you got to upload them. And that's going to take several times. And so you could be looking at upwards of $1,500 to $3,000 right there. For social media, and social media is only going to become more and more popular as time goes on. More and more people are going to use it. More and more people are using it now than they were, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so you need to have a consistent presence on there, daily, ideally, maybe 2 to 3 times a week at minimum. And so, you need to find and write up that content. If you're doing one post every day, that could take anywhere from 45 minutes, or it could take 2 hours if you're trying to perfect the actual, copy that you're trying to write. Then you need to publish it. And if you're logging into individual profiles and publishing daily or scheduling it, that's going to take some time. Or if you're using an app like a Hootsuite or Zoho Social, that could cut that time down. If you're going to create graphics, even in Canva, where it's, as simplified as possible, that could still take a while, especially if you don't really have artistic skills. I don't. And so it takes me a little bit longer to create graphics than it would for someone else who's a little bit more artistically minded. And then you got to monitor those accounts, make sure you're checking for notifications, responding to comments, all that kind of stuff. And so you're looking at, God, I mean, 4 hours a month to upwards of 10 hours a month. So, that could be anywhere from, 1,300 to 3,000 hours. And so, just all of that along the way, adds up. And so you're looking, on average, close to $10,000 a month after you do the math, taking the most tech savvy side of things to the most, not tech savvy side of things. And so, I mean, you could be spending $10,000 worth of billable hours doing your own marketing. And that's just the content side of things. If you're trying to do, paid ads, Google ads, and if you're doing, print collateral, and you're doing events, and you're doing other things like that, that number gets even higher. And so that's why we talk about the importance of delegating that, whether it's to us or even just another marketing vendor or hiring someone in-house. If you're, and honestly, if you run the numbers and you're spending almost $10,000 a month in time on marketing, you're already at a place where you could hire someone in-house, and you could also probably afford to hire a vendor on top of that to make it even better, to fill in some of the weaknesses that an in-house person might have. And so I cannot stress enough, like, just don't try to do your own marketing. Because it's obviously it's gonna show up in one of two ways. Either one, you're sacrificing billable hours for it, or two, you're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week extra to get this stuff done. And you just don't need to do that. I mean, look, you can hire a marketing company, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 a month to do these sorts of things. And you're still, assuming even if you're doing 75% of those billable hours on actual legal work, you're still making profit on that. And so, I think it's something that a lot of people just need to sit down and just kind of run the numbers on and just see, like, okay, what am I actually throwing away here? How much extra time am I actually spending doing it? And look, I'm coming at you hard on this, but also, like, I want to applaud you for at least knowing that, marketing is important. So that is fantastic. I love that you're doing it. But it might be time to delegate that out and find someone to do it for you, because oftentimes you'll see that you'll still come out ahead, even with that extra expense added, because that time that gets freed up from you doing your marketing is time spent that you'll be doing casework and doing the things you actually enjoy doing and the things that energize you. And then plus on top of that, if your marketing works well, it's going to bring in the right kinds of clients and the clients that you actually want to work with. And so it just keeps feeding that passion and feeding that enjoyment of the things that you actually like doing. And so it ends up being a win-win. And I know that that's, I don't want that to sound disingenuous because this is coming from a marketing company, but like, the numbers don't lie. So, I encourage you this week to sit down and just run your numbers, based on your average fee versus, how much time you're spending doing your own marketing, and see if it makes sense. Because if you're losing upwards of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 every month, it's absolutely time to look into delegating that. Whether it's a virtual assistant, hiring a vendor, whatever it is. Definitely look into it. All right. So I hope that was enlightening. And hope that you finish out Q3 strong. Hope you got good goals to finish out 2022 strong as well for Q4. And like I said, if you're going to be at Clio Cloud Conference here in a couple of weeks, come check us out. And we'd love to meet you and talk to you and get to know you a little bit more. But that's going to do it for us this week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Please visit lawfirmmarketingminute.com for more information. We'll see you next time.